Hey, this is Gavin Palmer with Hero Looking for Group, and I decided to run some experiments. So, help with experiments at gmail.com. Also, you can contact me, herolfg.com/contact. I'm going to start with this definition. What is news? News is previously unknown information. We're trying to do good work, and it's nice if we can identify the news that is helpful for you to do your good work. And so I did a search for trying to create peace on earth, and I got some results. This vast institute, it's looks like one person. They say, there was a good thing here. It has about positive imagination. Like, I think it's important, for example, to be able to imagine how where we are at now can be transformed such that and such that we can imagine a better future and move toward that imagined future. And you can do that at different levels, including, at the very personal level, and all the way up to, some type of universal level for all space and time. So this kind of positive imagination is good. I thought about maybe trying to reach out to Michelle Sherman. So there could be a conversation with these people who are interested in or have some interest. This isn't her primary interest is not peace on earth. Well, maybe that's a kind of distant abstract future goal, and then the path by which she gets there is to inspire, exempling and inspiring to awaken the genius within. So some type of like leadership consulting. So it could be interesting to speak with Michelle. All right, other one. Let's see. This one looks like a team of two. So Gershon, he helped organize this event back in 1986, and so there could be a conversation with these two people, and these are clients, I guess, that work with the Empowerment Institute. So they might be interesting people to talk to. And the Jehovah's Witnesses came up. So that's interesting, right? That if you do a search for peace on earth, you get the Jehovah's Witnesses. You don't think of all the other churches, the other denominations that you don't get. And what that means is that the Jehovah's Witnesses have done something in their online presence which allows for them to be discovered. And their other organizations can learn from them. Other religious organizations can learn from them. And yeah, so I would look at their technique, right? Their technique is better than everyone else's. And I don't necessarily, I could go through these passages. I could go to try to understand each word in the passages. It's I guess I think the Jehovah's Witnesses are Unitarians, so they are not Trinitarians, and they are interested in, building a kingdom. I don't know what this means. People determined to keep fighting will not be allowed to live under the kingdom. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. Perspective.earth. I thought this was actually interesting. I really like Buddhism. The idea here is you can have peace, internal peace. And I would say that all of this comes back down to um, a kind of respect. So understand that everyone is on their own path. Um, so even though you can, through direct experience, understand that mindfulness will inevitably lead to a breaking of the scarcity mentality, which I would say the mentality which causes suffering and prevents peace. So that's the way I would describe that. Forget this word scarcity. It didn't work for me. Maybe it works for you. Go visit the website. But there is a mindset that allows for you to avoid suffering, not pain, but suffering. But you can't force that mindset on others, right? And so this is a libertarian mindset of don't force things on other people. So yeah, one of the keys to peace on earth is a kind of libertarian mindset. And you can look at all the people who are creating laws and criminal laws, and like every time someone tries to force their mindset on others, they are in their own way preventing world peace, which is it's an interesting type of situation, and that people think we need law and order in order to have world peace. Well, no, actually, that is what prevents us from having world peace. You trying to force your beliefs on other people is what prevents world peace. It's in a nutshell. Let's go somewhere else. And so the author here, I could try to reach out to this author. This author I really liked, Carrie Steckel, PhD. There's a list to things which would help increase peace. And I liked the list. I really did. There was one thing that stood out to me. Choose a career that yields only good things for our families, our communities, and our planet. So at one point I was in missile defense. I did not stay there. I stayed there for 6 years, but there was a lot of people. There's very few people who leave intentionally. It's kind of like it's like middle class welfare, and the middle class in that missile defense, and then I would say the military industrial complex, they really have a sweet situation. But in the end, strangers get killed because of your sweet situation. Obviously, that's a statement that could be people will have different opinions about. But I mean, I think it's a true statement that you work in the military industrial complex and you are helping to allow for strangers to be killed. I mean, that's ultimately what you're doing. Who are the strangers? They might be innocent people and they may not be innocent people, but they are strangers and you don't know whether they're innocent or not. And you have put trust elsewhere, outside of yourself. You have trusted a system. So obviously I didn't like that situation. I actually tested the situation out. Like I was like, hey, maybe I can transform the system. And I tried and it didn't work. And I said, well, this is not a trustworthy system. And this is key. Like I'll get back into it, but if you try to interact with the system so that you can improve it and you get ignored, then you probably are in the wrong place, right? You need to go do work with other people. You need to do your career with other people and find people who are willing to listen to you and will, they're not going to accept all of your ideas because you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. But if you're smart, you should have some good ideas. People will listen to them and it will create change. That's the kind of system you want to be a part of. That's the career you want. I really like this. There was a directory of nonprofits I went to. There was something about bullying, and there was a post on mental health. So I clicked those, and I particularly liked this libraries section. I'm interested in being a librarian. Like even this website is a kind of librarian activity. The Jehovah's Witnesses are doing the librarian activities better than everyone else. I think that librarians are very important. So I'm kind of interested in this. This was the non-bullying thing that was from over here, from Carrie Steckel, and I liked it. So at the bottom it says, contrary to popular opinion and contrary to the thesis of some anti-bullying programs, bullying is not about anger or conflict. It's about contempt, a powerful feeling of dislike towards someone considered to be worthless, inferior, or undeserving of respect. Bullying is arrogance in action. Once kids believe that someone is less than them, they can harm that child without feeling any empathy, compassion, or shame. All right, you could, like, imagine that there is no age associated with being a child or a kid, and there are these adolescent adults. So they are biologically an adult, but they are mentally, developmentally, still a child. And one sign of being a child, is that you are looking at other people as worthless, inferior, or undeserving of respect. And this, if you go watch the, mainstream media, that's what they do all day. They encourage this, and so this is like a childish activity to pay attention to mainstream media. And there's a lot of people doing it. But bullying is arrogance in action. I mean, this is when you create laws that forces your opinion on others, you're bullying, especially when you're not, like the law that prevents me from growing a cannabis plant in my backyard. That is bullying. There is a level of arrogance by the people who create and enforce that law, and they view people who grow that plant as one of these things, right? The most benign would be undeserving of respect, right? Or inferior. Maybe they don't think worthless, but these are all bad. So anyways, I really liked this paragraph. Let's keep going. Here's another one from the same author, from Carrie Steckel, PhD. The mental health first aid kit. So this one right here, listen compassionately and conditionally. I really like doing this and recommend it, but there are some people who just don't speak clearly. And so it's hard. It's like we have to teach everyone to speak clearly, like look each other in the eyes and speak clearly. I'm trying to teach my children this. Or else it's going to be very hard for anyone to listen compassionately and unconditionally. It's just a barrier. It's just like a real world, it's a reality of the situation. Like you can't expect people to listen compassionately and unconditionally to, if, for example, the listener has bad ears and can't hear, which I do have bad ears, or if the speaker is mumbling and looking away from you. Right? It's just, there's some basic rules for how this is supposed to happen. And maybe the education system and parenting in general should focus on some of these basic rules, like trying to speak clearly and trying to respect each other so that you are able to listen and speak with each other. Like, that seems like a good foundation. All right, keep going. All right, this was a 20 world organizations strive to establish world peace. None of them look attractive to me. Maybe some of them would look attractive to you. The most attractive one, though, was the elders, because they believe that it is important to listen to everyone. Like, that's what they say. I don't necessarily believe it, and it makes me want to test them, right? This is help with experiments, so I can run a test. I can see if they will allow me to connect with them. They stress the importance of every individual and how they are capable of making a difference. Yes, good stuff, but are they doing it? So here's the elders, and I like that they have this. I've always imagined my website having a list of people. They're basically your team, and then so it might be interesting to go through each person. Obviously, if they're not alive, you can't connect with them. But it'd be cool to try to connect with each person and ask the questions like, why are they on this list? How did they get into their position? Did they deserve the position they got? From what I can tell, they don't necessarily. It doesn't appear like they deserve their positions. Like, I'm looking at things that get posted, and their opinions, they seem to be focusing on things that the mainstream media focuses on, right? They aren't leading the narrative. They are kind of following in the wake of the narrative created by, people who are not trying to do good work. So these are followers, and that's ultimately all of these people. I imagine they're good at following and like trying to say what is popular, which means that they are tuned in to the thing which we should be tuning out, right? They're tuning into mainstream media, and we should be tuning out of mainstream media if we really want to do things like peace on earth. But it would be interesting to talk to. I imagine some of these people are just brilliant. They have to be. Has to be. Some of them have to be brilliant. It's probably not all of them, right? It would be, but hopefully, like all of them would have have some ideas and perspectives that are valuable that we should all understand. So, I'd love to be able to connect with some of these people and have conversations and share them on my YouTube channel. And all right, that's it for now. This is me doing research into, peace on earth and how do we get there, right? And some of the mistakes that are being made, and the mistakes have to do with, I would say, like, the kind of statement here is great, but the mistakes have to do with how good are we able to, like, do this, all right? And so, like, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they have a website, so they're doing something technically or strategically better than everyone else that's in that space where they're talking about religion. They showed up in the search higher than everyone else, right? So there is an education system that exists within our minds and within our organizations, and within, and those organizations have layers all the way up to, expanding into space-time. So, like, this can be written and be available for many years. And if it's good information, then it should live for a long time. So we're working on an education system, right? We need to figure out the reasons why we are not able to have peace on earth. And I talked about a few of those here. I appreciate your time and attention. Feel free to get in touch with me, herolfg.com/contact. And I hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.